Hey guys, welcome back. So every week we're doing an update for Whisper, our 100% private chat app. And usually it's Ben or Will introducing, but we're trying to rotate the host, so I get the pleasure this week. And I'm going to steal a couple of things that the other chaps say. So Ben often advises you guys to tap like and subscribe at the bottom. So please do that. And to be fair, I don't think Will often says it as much. I don't know. It's not something I really pick up on too much, but we'll get right into it. So this week we've got quite a few different updates coming in. Some of them are quite large features. Others we can sort of get right into. So we're going to start off really small. And I was hoping, Ben, you could sort of tell us a little bit about some of the stop functionality that we've added to the app and what it means.
Of course, no problem at all. Well done for hosting today. Hope you enjoyed the hot seat. Yeah, I mean, good one. This is, it's a little feature, really. Ultimately, it's really simple. It stops the AI just jibber jabbering for too long if it's maybe go down the wrong path. And as Will's doing a brilliant demo, thank you, Will. You can see now we've got a little stop button there. There we go. And then you can obviously amend it or continue. So I think a really great little feature. Nothing, it's not earth shattering, but I think the whole point of where we're trying to get to is we're trying to get to that. We're building private AI, and that is the hard thing. But we have to at least get Whisper up to a level pegging standard that's as good as the other providers. Otherwise people won't jump ship, even though some will for privacy, but the majority of people won't because it's not quite as good. So we need to get it to that level. So this is a great little feature.
100%. It's kind of key that you hit on the floor point as well, because we were all together we were talking earlier this week about how important it is that our features match up to what ChatGPT, what Claude, whatever chat apps offer. And even as something as simple as that stop button, it does kind of carry a lot of weight for something a user won't really notice, but we absolutely need. So it's great to have it in there. But yeah, like you say, it's quite a small feature, and we've got some other big things to kind of talk about. So, Will, we've shipped something called conversation exporting, and again, we'll probably pull up a demo in a moment. But could you tell us what that is and why we've sort of brought that into the app today?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This has actually come off the back of a wonderful comment that we had a couple of weeks ago now that all feedback is good feedback. One of the feedback points is we don't ship fast enough. And we're not shipping what the people want. So this is what this person wanted. They wanted a way to import and export conversations. Now let me share my screen. I'll quickly demo it. If you don't know, I'm recording from my webcam.
Can I just make a quick caveat?
Yeah,
Every
go
time
for it.
Someone puts a comment, doesn't mean we're going to ship exactly what you're going to comment. All right, guys? I just want to say
that. I was just bitter. I was like, wow, we're shipping every week. We're trying our best here. And, all that conversation exports. We'll do that. So here's my iPhone screen. If you wonder why I'm recording from my webcam, it's because I can demo on my iPhone. This is literally my live iPhone. And you can see I have three chats here that do have various different topics about them. So now I can jump into settings here, which has a bunch of different things, as you will know if you've watched these videos before. And then you can come on down to data management. We have a new shiny data management section, which allows you to export your conversations. We support two different types of that. That's Markdown, if you know what that is, and JSON. Again, if you're looking to export this data, you may well be familiar with these kind of data types. We will look to support more, like CSV, for example, is a common one. But to start with, we've got Markdown and JSON. You can choose it, and then you can press export here, and it will export. And you can see a bunch of my lovely friends and my mother I can send it to, as well as send it to various apps and save it to your files. And this exports all of your data from Whisper so that you can take it elsewhere. You can have a backup of it, whatever you may want to do with that export. And it takes everything. You can go there, export complete, and it's exported 3 conversations, 22 messages. And yeah, just a really helpful feature, despite that comment, saying that we need to ship faster. It was a really good idea. So that's why we put it in, and it's now out on the App Store in this update as well.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's kind of like one of those features that it's not essential. It's not a blocker for a user, but bearing in mind that we are a privacy-oriented app, we really do need to consider how locked in people are to our app too. And I think the short of it is we want users to feel like they can leave and they can come straight back whenever they wish to. And there are other reasons why you might need to export your conversations too, which we'll get into another day because I don't want to take up too much time as host. So I'm going to move on to what we've now got, which is a concept called multi-AI. And it's turned out to be quite a big feature. So Ben, I'm kind of wondering if you could take us through what multi-AI is. We've also been calling it multi-provider. And yeah, just sort of talk us through what it is, really.
So so this is obviously the ability for a user to obviously use our Whisper AI, which is fantastic. And it's also the ability for a user to use their existing subscription. So if they already have a ChatGPT subscription, free or paid, Gemini subscription, or any of the others, it's that ability to go, oh, actually, I want to use Whisper, but I actually want to also maybe use my Frontier model. So it's that ability to choose. So you could choose a private, 100% on-device private solution with Whisper, or you might want to choose your model, existing model subscription, maybe for better results because it's a front-end model. But it's that ability to switch out and switch in between privacy and non-privacy AI providers. So that's really what that is all about, which is phenomenal. Which is, it starts making our Whisper app really functional in terms of giving people the power, both frontier power as well as pure privacy power, and the user can choose how they want to sort of adopt that privacy scale, that spectrum as they're having conversations. So that's quite cool, I think.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. I think you're right, and it's also just lending a bit more power to the app too, because there are certain limits to, at least right now, what we can offer with local AI on your phone. So this does kind of lend a bit more power to a user as well. You might be able to do a bit more of a like involved task that relies on a AI that's not on your phone too. So we're sort of bringing in this multi AI support that allows you to use that local AI, but also get more powerful AI when you do need it. And this kind of takes us on to the next point, where I mean, multi AI was what we wanted to ship last week, and that feature has become quite a large one. And we've had to hit pause to build something called migrations. And I'm kind of hoping, Will, that you can take us through what a migration is and why do they need to come first before we can hit publish on this one.
Yes, migrations are just one of the many technical hurdles that we need to overcome in terms of bringing this into fruition. Along with actually supporting the different providers, we actually need to think about how that we are storing data for users. How when you get a new update, that it's going to continue working for you. So a migration essentially is a safe way to, as the terms would suggest, migrate the data from one version of the app to another so that it works, it's expandable, and it's future-proof. So what we quite quickly realized is that the original way of storing a user's data wasn't going to quite work as we look to expand functionality and bring more functionality like multi-AI support to Whisper. So we had to come up with an intermediary solution so that we know when you download the new version of Whisper with multi-AI, we can actually now support that, store and save your details on your phone, by the way, not on our servers. It's all on your device. How can we store it on your device? So that we can support that. That's been a really fun journey as well. We have a new package coming out under the Nano Collective, which we've spoken about a little bit before, and that's helped it, and that can hopefully help others as well in terms of their data migrations. So that's a little bit about that. That was one of the technical challenges. It wasn't all of them, but it was obviously a big one that meant that we couldn't ship it quite last week. It's not quite in this version of the app, which I was demoing, but it's going to be a very close follow-up, hopefully over the next couple of days, being put out to Apple and Google.
Perfect. It's kind of like one of those really good examples where a lot of the functionality is built, but we really want to make sure that when you update your app, you don't have any adverse consequence of it. You just get a seamless experience from one update to the next. And as Will says, that absolutely is where the kind of deeper technical kind of comes in. We've had to lay in a little bit more, bit more of a tech solution to support it, really. But yeah, that's kind of where we're up to with the multi AI, and I think this kind of leads us on to what sort of changes could people expect when they're using this multi AI. And so, Ben, I'm kind of hoping you can maybe share with us where this takes us in the future, really. Like, what sort of power can people get from using different AIs on their phone?
I think it ultimately circles back to almost why are we doing this, because I think the reality is we do accept that on-device AI is not going to be as good as a ChatGPT, and we're not pretending it is. There's lots of other huge benefits, of course, privacy, self-sovereignty of your intelligence, all the rest of it. But the fundamental facts are the facts. It will catch up in time. But I think what we're trying to sort of do is bridge that gap right now to say, look, there's this, ultimate privacy if you want that. But actually, this gives you all the capability that you would have otherwise. And it's bridging that gap while on device catches up, and it will catch up, and it is catching up. And I think it just really brings that frontier AI experience, if somebody really wants that, to the user. And there's now no longer an excuse. When this ships, there will be no longer an excuse or reason, not an excuse is the wrong word, but a reason not to, because that experience is as good. So I think ultimately that's what it's about. That's what the experience is about. And a user can choose, what spectrum of that paradigm of privacy do they want to use, and switch between conversations. So I think that's really where we're at and where it's going. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah, it's that like useful crossover as well to a regard. Like if you're already familiar with ChatGPT or Gemini or some other chat app, we're kind of then providing the ability for you to use what you're already very familiar with all of the other benefits of Whisper too. So yeah, it's very powerful, and like you say, it's a good bridge in the meantime until local AI does catch up. And I think we're all very much banking that it will. Um, I think I'm just gonna. I did have a couple more questions, but I don't want to have our video get too long. So I'm gonna wrap up with one last one for you, Will, which is now that we've brought in what is kind of cloud AI, it's AI that's not just on your phone. What sort of measures do you think we need to take? We're already kind of addressing maybe in this release, but what we will also need to expand on in the future to make sure that we can offer as much privacy as we can with cloud-based AI.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question, and we can do many, many different things. I think the first thing to caveat this with is that privacy means different things to different people. There are people out there that will obviously really appreciate the fact that everything is on device. You can turn it onto airplane mode and you can use it. It's all stored on device. There's no servers. People, that is one level of privacy, the most extreme and the best version of privacy. But there'll be people that are quite happy with knowing the stack end to end. So for example, Whisper is open source. They can review the code, they can see how it works, and they can know exactly what's happening end to end. And then there will be a certain level of, happiness that they're happy to send that data off to a third party provider. So there's different levels of privacy. In terms of what we can do and what we will continue to do is make sure that we're always acting in a transparent manner. The code will always continue to be open source. When we are going to be sending it off to a third party that isn't just on your phone, is making that explicitly clear to users within the messaging of the app, and just always being upfront about the functionality and what someone is buying into, because that is ultimately allowing the users then to make a decision on what they deem acceptable privacy, or they may not. Then what we can also look to do is a load of technical things as well. We can look at in the future. We're not looking at it right now, but they're going to be on the backlog, and different things that we can do to further protect a user. One that comes to mind straight off the bat is, for example, trying to obfuscate requests that go off to third-party providers. So, for example, if you put in any personal details, we can look to try and detect that, obfuscate it before sending it off to the third party. So we can do a lot of little things like that, optionally, that you can turn on to protect yourself. So it spans the whole thing. We're continuing to do what we've done anyway. We're continuing to be transparent, and then looking to add extra privacy controls in the future as well.
That was actually perfect. That was a perfect answer. I think I think that generally it was, no, because it covers the full span. Because I mean, we do have that major consideration of what does privacy mean to you, and that everyone's got a different answer. And there is also very much an angle of what can we technically do too. And yeah, the concepts of I can't say that word. The concept of hiding certain information when you send it to a third party is certainly like one technical remit that we should check out. But yeah, I think this kind of release has really set us up for some major innovation that's coming over the next couple of weeks too. There's a lot of preemptive work in play, and obviously we've got some new visual changes in as well, as Will showed us earlier. So I think that's really a wrap for our update this week. And again, like, subscribe, comment down at the bottom, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.